follow through. The follow through is probably one of the most misunderstood aspects of the throw in the sport, possibly in any sport. If you look at some of the advice out there, but that and alignment. I mean, there's two ways you really want to be aligning. One, keeping the elbow and shoulder down the line, straight back, straight forward, which is going to work for most players. I mean, most players are going to be right eye dominant, and their elbow's going to point to the left. So we're going to put them to the right, like Michael Smith or Luke Littler when he's playing his best darts. What's his name? Barneveld, Ryan Searle, or throw to the right, elbow points left, stick them to the right. Yeah, because the elbow and shoulder is going down the same path you want the dart to fly. Left eye dominant players normally kick the elbow out, like Jose de Sousa or Johnny Clayton or Phil Taylor to the left. Yeah, so the elbow and shoulder still goes down the same path you want the dart to fly. So you're not moving the elbow sideways. You do get some people who misalign slightly, their right eye dominant, and the elbow kicks out this way, which is more unorthodox. We've only, I think it's 3 world champions we've seen do that. So that's Luke Humphries, Steve Beaton, and Leighton Rees. Walking like this. But then if you look at the way they throw, the hand goes through it with a little rotation, draw a bump.
Yeah.
So Leighton Rees and Humphries, this is like this. Yeah. So they end up with this kind of like a little S shape on their hand. So the actual motion going forward is still straight. But if they fully extend and go slightly out of line, but this bit by here is very good. I would only coach someone to do that if they were very right eye dominant and their elbow kicked out. It was just something they naturally wanted to do. You know, then you coach them a little bit different, because you coach principles, not a set throw. You know, you can't coach a set throw. A set throw will work for some players who are naturally going to gravitate towards something similar anyway. But everyone throws the dart different. Everyone, you know, and there are more modern ways of following through as well. But
if when my darts, so if my darts are going to miss the 20, which obviously happens all the time, they're far more likely to hit the 1 than the 5. So I'm
that's
obviously
to do with the hand shape. That's probably more to do with the hand shape.
Okay.
So if you, as a right-handed player, if you're hitting a 1, you're probably rotating too much.
Right. Okay.
Are you trying to do this a little bit? Like continuously do this when you throw?
Yeah, I'm inconsistent with my follow through. I would say that when I am trying to sort of feel like this. I'm trying to.
Yeah, that's exactly what I don't want you to do.
Really?
Because
Okay.
if you look at the way you just gripped the dart, okay?
Yeah.
You gripped it very close. So the palm of the hand facing, grip the dart, okay?
Yeah.
Aim it at me.
Yeah.
Okay. So the palm of the hand was kind of facing over there when you just did it. How would you normally aim the dart? Aim the dart straight at my head. Go back. Okay. Put this sort of an angle. So as you're going through, you have to try and keep this part of the hand the same, consistent all the way through.
Okay.
So it would look just make it a bit bigger. The recording. Okay, so rather than trying to do this, which means you're going to have to rotate the elbow a little, you're going to try to keep it like that.
Okay.
Because as soon as you start rotating inward, it's so easy for the thumb to slip under the dart. And what you'll see, it's a little bit misleading. What tends to happen is something like this. And the dart kicks. It actually spins the dart off into the 1s and sometimes even the 18s. It's really bad. If there's elbow movement and they spin, then it'll go to the 18s. Okay? Yeah.
When you work out the alignment, like where you should be when you're sort of throwing at 20s, when you're throwing at doubles, should you be moving around the oki? I've been given different bits of feedback, really.
Okay, that's a really good question. Now, and that really, every player is going to give you a different answer. Now, Connor Scott, when I was coaching Connor, I taught him how to tilt and swivel. I showed him how I would do it. But he was so good at stepping across the oki, he decided to stay with it. But then when he won the Dutch Open, he didn't move on his, and in the World Championships this year, he didn't move on his rhythm shots, and he hit more of them. So I would always say tilt and swivel. Tilt and swivel is the best way to do it.
Yeah, my biggest problem with follow through of any sort is a lot of the time I don't even have a follow through. By the time I've even feel like the dart has even hit the board, I'm already picking up the second dart. And as much as I'm trying not to do that, I just find myself I almost have to think about it every single throw if I want to maintain that.
If you ask most people that coach darts what a follow through is, they'll give you the wrong answer.
Yeah.
There's multiple YouTube videos out there that this is a follow through. This is a follow through. If you're coaching an absolute beginner, that's barely acceptable. I still wouldn't do it. I'd like to teach them. That's not what the definition of a follow through is. What is the definition of a follow through? The definition of the follow through itself is about keeping continuous movement on the point of release. Yeah. But if I extend my arm, I don't move my wrist and fingers, and I just open the hand, and it just leaves that, then I may as well have stopped. That's not a follow through. The only time you'll see a player do this motion is if they're pushing down the back of the dart, because the index finger catches, and that index finger just helps push it straight, and the dart kicks. Like, that's the more modern style of doing it, like Luke Littler or Nathan Aspinall. That's what we'll throw. The definition, you need to keep continuous movement whilst accelerating as well. Any sport with a follow through, you pick them. Golf, pool, snooker, boxing, basketball, you need to be getting gradually quicker on impact or release, sport dependent. Again, otherwise the follow through won't work. You'll decelerate, the dart will just fall. And players who tend not to accelerate through, they throw a little bit too one speed, like that.
Yeah, that's probably me.
It's most amateurs.
Yeah,
it is most amateurs. Okay, this is a follow through. So you're keeping the wrist and the fingers moving whilst getting gradually quicker. So if you look at players like Dave Chisnell or Johnny Clayton or Barneveld, Lisa Ashton, none of them do this. And they're all very good at darts. And if you go to any local darts tournament, you'll see lots of amateurs doing this. And they're not good at darts because they think they're following through. They're not actually following through. Yeah? Technically, this is still a follow through. Right? This is what I do when I throw the dart. It's a flick and a fall. But if I just flick, so I'll try not to use my arm. I won't move my control. I'll work as hard as I can to keep it still. That is still technically a follow through, as long as I'm getting gradually quicker. There we go. Took me a while to get them straight. It's harder to keep them straight. The arm extension helps with most players. Not all of them. If you tell Raymond van Barneveld to do this, he's not going to get better. I promise you. But it's a bit harder to keep straight. But when you start fighting, it only took me 2 darts to get back in the treble 20.
Wow.
Because I'm still following through. It's still a follow through there. It's just a little bit harder for most players. But people work so hard on doing this that they miss the most important part, which is this.
Yeah.
You have to keep that straight, really straight. The only exception you'll see from it is players that slightly rotate the hand. Like if they aim the dart sideways, like Kyle Anderson, then you'd have to unturn and flick straight.
Okay.
But when you're flicking straight, you want it to feel like this. A bit like bouncing a ping pong ball. You bounced it and caught it, bounced it and caught it. This part of the hand stays rigid. This doesn't change. This goes straight. Like that. Like that. That's the flick. That is straight all the time. Bang. Bang. You can feel that bite and clarity in the throw. When your finger's kicking and turning, you lose the sensation of the thumb is slipping under the dart. It's very easy to do this. Keep the thumb nice and tall. So if your hand's at this angle, then it's this. It's the same thing, but with a bit more angle on the arm. But it's that.
Okay.
All the time. Okay, now hold that position, hold it. That's very good. Now you remember where your elbow's pointing. Look at where your elbow's pointing. Pick a double is pointing under a section of the dartboard. Then look at your feet. And more importantly, one of the most important, look at the center of the chest. Make sure the center of the chest is always pointing at the same object. If you change the angle your chest is pointing at, where you draw back to will change significantly.
Right, so you want to be consistent.
And that's where you'll end up.
With the whole body, I guess, every time. It's not just your wrist, your hands.
Yes, it's so important. It's the most underrated part of the throw, I'm telling you.
Wow.
Everyone focuses on the feet, nobody focuses on the chest. The chest makes far more impact than the feet.
Wow, never thought about it like that.
Far more impactful. So, like, for example, if I was to back in the center of the dartboard, have a look at this. My feet are always completely side on, okay? I'm always completely side on with my foot. But where my chest is positioned makes such a massive difference. Let's put this from this angle as well. Okay. So, put side on. I'm looking at the wall. Now, if I keep my chest pointing over there, I'm going to need to draw more to the side of my head, about by here. Treble 20. Now, if I put my chest by here, so I'm going to keep my feet the same, put my chest by there, then I'm going to need to draw slightly more to the center of my face, by here. But one day I started drawing to here, and I played really, really well. And I came back the next day, and it didn't work. My chest was different. But they both went as straight as each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're both in the right place. But if I put my chest side on, and then, or if I put my chest this way and then draw to the side of my head, it's terrible. My hand-eye coordination just doesn't work at all with it. It's normally not that bad. It's normally a treble 5, but I flicked it straight, just straight down the wrong line. You know, so it changes drastically. Drastically, the chest is far more important. Far more important. My feet are exactly the same. Side on, more square on. That chest plays a big difference because it also affects where your elbow is a little bit as well. You end up throwing at slightly different angles.
Because
I'm better with the chest over here. That's beautiful. That last one was straight in the treble, beautiful.